that was the wrong finger. No, that was the right finger. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of Duping Makeup I Want with Makeup I Already Own. I've been a bit pressed on time lately, so this video, I'm not here to mince words. This is gonna be like as right to the point as I can make it. And I don't wanna waste your time either. So this little series I do, I look at a new makeup release, 100% of the time it's an eyeshadow palette, and then I reach into my own collection and find a dupe for every single one of the shades in that palette. And this is more of a fun exercise than a functional exercise because it's fun finding dupes for every single shade, but never when I'm doing my makeup in the morning am I going to seek and pull out like 4 different palettes just so I can get like an exact look from what I could have gotten from the other palette. But I do try to pull as many shades from 1 or 2 palettes as I can. So today I have I do have $1. Today I have a palette that costs only $4.99 or $5, and I pulled almost half of the shades from that palette. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, it's this palette. This is the Wet n Wild 10-pan eyeshadow palette in the shade variation V.I.Purple. And this is also a dupe palette for the Natasha Denona Lila palette. I'll put up a picture that Beauty Addiction did here with comparison swatches between the two. So when I reference shades from this palette, you can consider them to be analogous to the corresponding shade in the Natasha Denona Lila palette if you do have that one. So the structure of this video, I'm first going to show you all of the swatches of all of my shades on my arm and also comparison of that to swatches of the actual palette, which I'm quite proud of this one actually. I think I did a really good job. And then after you just see all of them and determine whether or not you want to watch the rest of the video, I will go through every single shade just really quickly and tell you what they were and show you a swatch on my hand. If you're new to me, new to my channel, I hope you will consider subscribing before you go because that'd be cool and it's free and I can see you in the future. Plus, this is a series. I'll link the playlist and the rest of those videos up in my corner, down in my description box, and more will be coming your way in the future. The first thing I promised y'all are the arm swatches. So here is the footage of all of the shades swatched on my arm. The shades are in the same order as they would be in the Urban Decay Ultraviolet palette. Here I have an image of swatches of the actual palette that I found on Instagram. Her handle is at makeupmadness888 for proper credit. As you can hopefully see, I think I did a great job. There was one shade that I couldn't find a good dupe for in my own collection. I'll tell you what it is when we get to it. But otherwise, I think I did good. So now let's go into me telling you exactly what each of the shades are. So moving from left to right of the palette I'm duping, the first shade is Trippin', and this is kind of like a metallic champagne almost. And so for that, I am using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam Glistening, and that is the shade I picked for that. And here is a swatch of that shade for you to see if you, I don't know, just cause. So there's Glistening. It's a very subtle sheen. I just added another thin layer to that so you can see the true color a little bit better. Now onto the second shade, which would be Mind Slip. And for this, I picked my first shade from this Wet n Wild palette. There's this light kind of tan peachy shade. Here is a swatch of that really boring neutral matte. Even though I find a lot of the dupe shades from this palette, there's a difference in quality. I generally like these Wet n Wild formulas, but I will admit that this palette in particular is a little bit more difficult to work with than other color palettes within this whole collection. So I do like the My Glamour Squad, which is a dupe for Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam, and I've also worked with the Cosmic Collision palette, which is a dupe for Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism palette. And I just noticed while doing the swatches and figuring out which shades correspond with the ones from the Urban Decay palette that these gave me a little bit more trouble when I was trying to swatch them. The third shade corresponding to Dazed is a ColourPop single, and it's this one in Tea Garden. And I picked this one because the original is a red base with a like yellow green flip, which is exactly what this is. So the swatch for that, this is one of my favorite eyeshadows of all time because I think it's really unique, I say, as I'm using it to dupe another shade, but I just think that this has a beautiful effect and it always makes the eye look very interesting. You can't see that very well. Let me smooth out that. Oh no, that was the wrong finger. Oh no, that was the right finger. Let me smooth out that swatch a bit. There you go. Lots of dimension, lots of cool stuff happening. The fourth shade is a matte shade corresponding to Hacked. And for that, I picked Rose Quartz from my So Jaded palette. And this is a little bit of a deeper matte tan with a rosiness to it, like a dusty rose. So here is a swatch of Rose Quartz from So Jaded. So you can see some of that kind of pink, purple, mauve coming through. For shade 5, I'm back to my Wet n Wild palette, and this is a shade corresponding to VR, which looks to be kind of a mid-tone bronze. And for that, I am picking this shade here, which is the second down in the left column. And to me, actually, this pick was surprising. When I was swatching through all of my eyeshadow palettes, this actually shows up much darker than it seems like it will in the pan, because the color we see in the pan is like the reflection highlight shade, but you can kind of see when I turn it, this is the base tone, so it's really much deeper than I expected it to be. Swatching side by side, it was actually nearly the exact same tone as Senegal, which is in my Juvia's Place, the Saharan palette. So anyways, here's a swatch of shade 5 corresponding to VR, which is that bronzy shade. Wow, that's a really pretty shade. For a $5 palette, it's pretty good. I also want to note here that that my look today, I used only using dupe shades found within this very palette. But I didn't use this shade here. Shade number 6 corresponding to Lucid, which seems like a very white metallic, and I read somewhere that it has kind of a green shift, but I could barely notice it, so I went with a just white, straight white metallic, and that I found in my Juvia's Place, the Saharan, and it is this shade Iman. And so here is a swatch of shade 6 corresponding to Lucid from Juvia's Place, Saharan. Wow! Shade 7, which compares to Optimized in the original palette, I am pulling another ColourPop single, this very light lilac purple, and the shade for this is called Howlin. So a swatch for Howlin, here it is. And this purple lilac tone is actually quite particular because there are lilacs that lean more rosy and there are lilacs that lean more cool. And so this is more of the almost blue side of purple. So here, actually maybe not, I don't know. I feel like this is really true purple, whereas a lot of my other purple-y kind of tones in this range lean a little bit more rosy. But this is a true pastel lilac. Shade number 8, back to the palette, and this is a shade corresponding for Warning, and this shade is a very, very pink leaning purple. I would say that it is actually more pink than it is purple, and for that shade I picked this. This is the shade that I have pulled up to my crease. So here's that swatch corresponding to Warning, and I just need to run it over a few times. I also want to emphasize here that these are color dupes. I know the formula is not going to be the same. I do notice that with Wet n Wild's formula, the shimmers go on better with a finger. I always use my finger when I put shimmers on my lid, so it doesn't really bother me. But if you like using a brush, that may be kind of a deciding factor for you. For shade number 9, I'm back to the So Jaded palette, and for this purple metallic, I went to Alexandrite, and this is a kind of cool, funky purple. It has a purple base, but it has some blue sparkles to it, very subtle. So that's why I picked this over Amethyst here, because the shades in the Urban Decay Ultraviolet palette are actually quite interesting, so I picked the more interesting of the two. So here is ColourPop Alexandrite corresponding to Cyberpunk. Shade number 10. We are back to the Wet n Wild palette, and 2 out of the 3 remaining shades are from here, and this is a shade corresponding to Euphoric, which is the blue purple in the palette. And for that, I'm picking this shade. Looking at it now in the screen, it looks pretty like just purple, but I promise you this is a pretty blue purple. If I move it around a little bit, you can see in the shadows some more of that blue coming through. Shade number 10, corresponding to Euphoric. A little chunk. Let me just rub out that chunk. Okay. See how it's kind of indigo once I actually use it? The second to last shade, shade number 11, corresponding to Purple Dust. This is the one that I didn't have an exact match for in my collection of like around 30 eyeshadow palettes. So I picked the closest that I could find. This isn't as deep as Purple Dust, but I rolled with the whole gray purple kind of tones. So what I'm pulling is from my Jackie Aina palette, Lituation here, which is like a grayish taupey base with some purple through it. So shade number 11, corresponding to Purple Dust. I think the colors are similar, but the depth is much deeper in the Urban Decay palette. Eyeshadow number 12 is Digital, and this is a black, brown, gray, stony kind of really dark stone. And this is actually my least favorite eyeshadow, I guess, in general. Not just in this palette, but generally this whole black, gray, brown color, because I would rather it just be black or just be dark brown or just be gray. Like, I don't know. And sometimes the formula of these are really dry too. So yeah, but anyways, I had to find a dupe. I'm pulling that from this palette. This is the bottom most on the left column. Here's a swatch of that Wet n Wild shade corresponding to Digital. And there you have it. Those are all the shades. I hope that y'all enjoyed this video today, and I always encourage y'all to do the same thing as me. If you are wanting for something, see if you can dupe the vibes from your own collection. And duping the vibes is like a pretty common strategy to curb your desire for new things. I just like taking it a step further and seeing if I can dupe every single shade because it's fun to me and saving money is fun. So a lot of times when I like wing smile like that, I have like a lazy eye. Like, I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out, and I thank you so much for all your support. And a reminder to subscribe before you go if you haven't already, because I have some fun stuff coming up, some useful stuff coming up, and fun. Remember that y'all are my treasure. Find the beauty in every day, but most importantly, be kind to yourself. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!